done here in Columbia.
I was going to ask you, how do you perceive it, 5 and 10 years from now that it's off the ground and running a little bit?
Well, I want to get the arts involved more. I think that's they're equally performance driven as our athletic programs. We have things as simple as Project Lead the Way, which is a academic program, and we're working on sponsors there from the engineering and that side. That may evolve into something. We don't know. We still get a little bit of that kickback from patrons say we don't want our kids being exposed to advertising in school. So we haven't taken to the inside of the school walls so much as we've kept it in the gyms and the fields. But we'll still have that conversation. At what point is it okay to allow community to have a voice and a presence in our schools if it provides services for our students?
And one of the negatives, I have to say,
sure,
it's kind of funny, the whole pouring rights. Diet Coke, the debate over Coke or Pepsi, it was kind of cracked me up a little bit, like, okay, does it really matter? And when we found out in all of our schools that what was being charged differently in schools with a soda machine. And so now at least, again, we can have some equity and, okay, everyone is going to be charged, what, I don't even know what it is now, 75 cents or $1.25, whatever. But we had a couple people talk to us at the board meeting about how they really wanted another type of soda. So I just thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. But I would say for $600,000 over 10 years, you can drink a Coke.
Right, absolutely, yeah.
I don't notice the difference myself, but some people have real strong opinions on that.
Yes,
and you hear strong opinions for sure. And Chad, let's go back to you. As a parent of an incoming student to a new school, it's an exciting time. And just tell me a little bit about what you envision, even 3-4 years down the road.
I think the exciting thing for me as a parent, and we've started to have these some of these meetings about the sports teams and the fine arts things, is that the coaches are getting to talk about, let's do volunteer work, because we're not spending all of our time fundraising. So we have, like, the volleyball program is going to be working at the food bank and going to be doing some river cleanup and things like that we couldn't do before because the girls were selling candy bars and pizzas and
sure,
all this other things. So I think the community will see other things give back over time that we couldn't do before because we were so busy trying to get new uniforms at Oakland and all of those other places. So for me, there'll be a bigger reach than on the field and in the auditoriums, because I think the community will see it from lots of things, and I think all the coaches are embracing that part of that piece of that is to give back to the community that's helping them. So.
I was going to just bring that up with our two coaches. Adam, maybe you go first, and maybe you do feel like, the community's giving to us, we need to give back, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't got a chance to get out and see this building and what the work they've done over at Hickman and at Rockbridge, you have something to be proud of. Like Dr. Belcher said before, our equipment was old and outdated, and the scoreboards they were an eyesore and our strong community starts with our schools, and bringing those eyesores out and developing new scoreboards and gorgeous fields, and brings the community together and just lets everyone feel like they're a part of something, and this sponsorship will help with that.
I'm sure you feel the same way. Justin, you got to go out there and say, hey, you know what? A lot of people are giving up their time, they're giving up money to let us do what we love to do. We're going to give back as well.
Yeah, and it's a unique opportunity for us, kind of being out here on the the east side of town. Hickman and Rockbridge, share Providence, so those businesses and everything really get hit up pretty heavy through there. So for us to be out here and kind of not away from Columbia to say, but kind of in our own little area, it gives us the opportunity to really get involved in our part of our community out in this area. And we really want to focus on creating a family atmosphere at all of our sporting events. And I think that with us being in the community and doing things in this area, it's really going to draw our community members to Battle High School.
And Mark, I would imagine as a business owner who's part of this partnership, that's one of the things you like to see.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, obviously, the more people that come out, see the school, they see the teams, the coaches, and they see the billboard, and they see the program. So there's a payback to everybody. But I mean, all three schools, like Adam said, have made some great improvements. And I mean, from me, from a medical standpoint, sports medicine standpoint, all three schools now have great sports medicine facilities to treat the athletes, and they're getting care that used to be only available at colleges and pros. So I mean, that's, the community's gonna benefit, and obviously then from a business standpoint, we will as well.
Dr. Adams, why don't you speak on that as well, considering you've been on the sidelines for a long time at many high school sporting events.
Well, one of the things that gets lost here is Columbia is a very vibrant community. And you think about it, it's not just high schools we're talking about. We've got colleges, we've got Mizzou, we've got Columbia College, we've got Stevens, we've got any number of other people that are coming to you for money too. And from a business perspective, I hate to tell you, they've always had professional fundraisers and coming after you, and the public schools sometimes were last on the list because you got hit by professional development people from the colleges around. We want to be a part of all of those things. So I think putting it on a business standpoint helps me as a business person, and putting it to where it's got a framework, it's got advertising involved, it's got a plan so that it's going to the right people. And then from us standing on the sideline, we know we're going to get the resources we need down there. You've got, Columbia Public Schools have always been great about that, but the resources are now a little bit more focused, and each team has some coverage and everything. I know the athletic trainers have been a vibrant part, not only from the teaching perspective and the coverage perspective and all. They're integrated into the school very closely. It's just not Friday nights that the trainers show up or the doctors show up. We're there, and it just gives us a little bit more of a business stake in the activities too.
And Bruce, when you talk about all of this stuff that we've been talking about, it kind of takes you back to the first question. That's why you did this, right? That's why you were thinking outside the box.
That's correct. I mean, we had to do something. We had to stop the treading of the water, so to speak, and help with compliance, equity, and just generate some revenue.
What do you foresee in the next 5 to 10 years?
I see it evolving into, like Dr. Belcher said, middle school, other arts, other things that, you know, we got to think out of the box all the time. We got to show this community that we can be self-reliant, we can live with them and do things that is a positive.
Dr. Belcher, I'll give you the final word to just talk about how many phone calls you get now about people who say, I know you guys did this in Columbia. We were thinking about doing this in our school district. Can you tell me about it? Because I'm sure your phone rings and you do get asked that, don't you?
Well, it's usually when they come to an event. I spent 11 years in Blue Springs, and one of the first times we had the scoreboard running at Rockbridge, we were playing Blue Springs. So I walked across the parking lot, and there was a colleague of mine that's athletic director at Blue Springs now, and he's sitting in with the principal of Blue Springs. They said, "Hey, Belcher, how'd you get those scoreboards?" they were just sitting there. It was cold, so they were sitting in the truck, but even from there they could hear the sound and see the picture. I said, "Well, we got quite a deal going here," and I explained it to them, and they were impressed with that. But I think probably the place that surprised me the most is we started this, and then if you recall last spring, this time we were selling a 40-cent levy increase and a 12-cent bond issue increase to continue trying to get back up because the state's funding is still flat, and so our classrooms are taking a hit. And so we're trying to reduce class size, we're trying to continue our building plan and our program of facility equity, so forth. Every time I would address this sports marketing thing, because you know people drove by and they saw those big scoreboards and they said, "Well, you complain you need more money, but you found money for the scoreboard." And I said, "Well, let me tell you about that." And by the time I was finished, they said, "Well, that sounds like a business model." I said, "It absolutely is a business model, and not a dime of your taxpayer dollars went into that in the end. You know, we're using the community to take care of those things." It became a real positive in that, you know, a lot of times schools get categorized as tax and spend type mentality that we don't think outside the box. I think that comforted people that we were doing those kind of things so that we could put more money, and here's the real catcher, so we could put more money into the classroom, but still provide the quality of program that is expected of the community for your athletics. Those two things don't often mesh very well sometimes, and we've made it work.
Well said. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.